Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and hope everybody's having a good day, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel. Got a fun little video for y'all today. We're going to be talking about what's going to happen to Bassmaster after I buy it. You talk about cleaning house and changing the way things are. I'm going to go over with you guys. I spent some time really putting this together about what I was going to do when I buy the organization, so we're going to get into that in today's episode, and definitely curious to get your guys' feedback as well. Also, guys, a couple quick things before we get started. Just want to invite everybody to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I build for fishthemoment.com. We got the summer maps ready to go right now. These are great resources about learning more about your favorite lake or a lake you've never been to. Get you some good spots you can download straight to your GPS unit. And also, guys, just like to invite everybody, please check out the Get Ready for Summer sale on my SolarBat Signature Series sunglasses. Get them at 30% off right now from SolarBat, including prescription lenses. So I'll link all that in the description. Really appreciate that. Okay, guys, here's what's going to happen. If I'm one of these days, if I win that Powerball lottery, you know, the ones that once in a while you'll see a Powerball get over $1 billion. If the universe lines up perfectly and I was to win that thing, the first thing that I'm going to do is go to Bassmaster and make them an offer they can't refuse and buy that organization. And I put together a list of some things that I'm going to do when I do this. And of course, this is just a very rough rudimentary. Would be a tremendous amount of additional details and more details that would have to be ironed out, but this will give you the gist of it here. So we're going to go through the list, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen when I buy Bassmaster. Okay, first of all, I'm going to interview the entire staff of the organization, and anybody there that does not share the same vision that I do about returning bass to its glory days of the integrity and the whole, vibe that Bassmaster was created by Ray Scott's going to be gone. And then I'm going to replace a lot of those people with people that actually fish. It's like one of the things about running Bassmaster, yeah, you have to be skilled and have critical thinking skills in the fields you're in, but the staff is going to be cut back tremendously because you don't need all this extra waste. And people are going to fish. People are going to understand about fishing, and that's going to be who's working there. And also, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to get rid of Bassmaster Magazine and Bass Times. Guys, nobody reads print media anymore. That's a thing of the past, and that's probably one of the biggest wastes that Bassmaster has is the Bassmaster Magazine and Bass Times. That's something from back in the 1960s. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of Bassmaster on TV. There's not going to be any more Bassmaster like network TV shows. This is going to save a tremendous amount of money buying airtime. Instead, what we're going to do is there's going to be everything's going to be done on the Bassmaster YouTube channel. Saturday morning, there's going to be a full, YouTube video on the week's preceding tournament or whatever we decide that week. And then the proceeds from the AdSense, YouTube AdSense, and the advertising revenue are going to pay for the overhead and operating expenses within the organization. And since the staff is going to be overcut in half, it's not going to be near as much as what it is right now. And then, since we're not going to have a magazine in the Bass Times, that we're going to transfer the Bassmaster memberships and encourage new memberships with the Bassmaster YouTube channel membership perks. So that's sort of going to be a restructuring with that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is we're going to get rid of the Elite Series. We're going to return Bassmaster to when it was the best, when it had the Bassmaster Top 100s and the Top 150s, in that particular format. Guys, if you guys weren't there during that time, that was the best time for Bassmaster by far, Top 150, Top 100s. And then we're going to reduce the Bassmaster Opens to just 3 events. The reason we're going to do this is it's going to allow people that, just can't get a lot of time off work to fish the Bassmaster Opens and have a chance to qualify for the Bassmaster Top 150 circuits instead of having 6 billion open tournaments all across the country. And then what we're going to do is initially, when this happens, the Top 150 field is going to be initially established by going through the top 100 Bassmaster all-time money winners. And that's going to comprise 100 of them. And then the other 50 are going to come from the point standings in the 3 open divisions every year. That's going to be the thing. And also, guys, the turnover is going to come within the opens, and then we're going to protect the people that are the top 100 all-time money winners, because these are the marquee names, yet it also gives new people a chance to come up through the opens with that. Okay, and then profits to the organization, the profits that generated from, you know, all the affiliate linking and the AdSense revenue and the advertising revenue on the YouTube channels, those profits are, none of those profits are going to go to any individual or individuals. Any profits that go above the operating expenses with the organization are going to be going to conservation and environmental protection initiatives. Okay, and then I'm going to have a total rule restructuring in the rules. Anything in the top 150s is going to be legal as far as tournament competition, as long as it doesn't not break state or federal laws. And I'm going to really encourage creativity and ingenuity in traditional bass fishing skills. And obviously, there's going to be no forward-facing sonar. That's the first thing that's going to be gone. In addition to not having any forward-facing sonar, I'm going to take away side imaging, down imaging, and GPS. So the only thing that you're going to be allowed in your boat is a 2D sonar unit, one of them on the console, one of them up front, no GPS or anything. You're going to have to learn to read a map like real bass fishermen used to do. You can put a compass on your boat. You can learn to triangulate. It's going to go back to the days where real bass fishing is back, where it's a skill and it's an art form without having to rely on a bunch of electronics for fishing. Okay, the entry fees, I'm going to put them at $1,000 per event. There's going to be 6 top 150 tournaments, and they're going to pay 75 places. They're going to pay half the field on the top 150, and there's only going to be 35 anglers go to the Bassmaster Classic. It's not going to be like it's now, where there's freaking 60 guys in the Classic. It's going to be like it was back when Bassmaster was at the top of their game. Top 35 is going to go, and then we're going to turn it to the format like it was in the 70s. We're going to have a mystery lake. The Classic's not going to be announced. Nothing like that's going to come up. We're going to have a mystery lake, and since everything is on YouTube, there's no need to have freaking weigh-ins. That is a thing of the past. These fish are going to be weighed by a marshal. They're going to be released back in the lake alive. All the production and how that, you know, goes to creating the television show can be, you know, ironed out in the future there. Then there's going to be no more Bassmaster Live. Guys, Bassmaster Live was one of the worst things that ever happened to the sport, because what it did is it's not fair to the fish. It gave away exact locations. It put people where the fish were. Those fish got beat up after the tournaments. Nobody could hide anything. If you developed a really secretive, you know, just a really unique pattern or lure, you know, you couldn't hide that. That takes away your competitive edge. So we're going to have no more Bassmaster Live whatsoever. All the tournament footage, you know, from the tournament is going to be seen every single Saturday. We'll have it like at Saturday morning, like at, you know, 11 o'clock in the morning, when people can watch it every Saturday like they used to with the old Bob Cobb Bassmaster days on YouTube with that. And then the Bass Nation and the high school and college events, that's going to be completely separate from the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. That's going to be its own deal. I'm not going to get into that in today's video, but there's not going to be any classic qualifiers that come through the Bass Nation or the high school or college. No disrespect to those organizations, but they can have their own championship. The Bassmaster Classic, those 35 guys should be reserved for just the professionals that fish the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. And then the tournament payouts are going to be subsidized by the advertising, entry fees, and the sponsors that come along with it. Now, that's just a few of the things that I'm going to do with that, because one of the things that's happened here with Bassmaster is that a lot of people like myself that have been following Bassmaster since the 70s, and like I said, I talked about how I was friends with Ray Scott. We've seen a degradation in that organization in terms of what the Classic's about, and in terms of what the overall energy and the vibe of the sport was. And in my opinion, after about probably the early to mid 90s, you know, right before FLW took out, Bassmaster just sort of went down the tube a little bit with that. It's like If you look back at the television that Bassmaster had from about 1985 to 1995, that was the pinnacle of that organization. That's when it was hitting on all 8 cylinders. Everybody was excited. Everybody was happy. It was working perfectly. Nothing was broken. Why try to fix something that's not broken? As somebody that was there during that time period and somebody that's here now, I can assure you guys that from 85 to 95, and most of the guys that fished back then with me would agree with this on the pros, is the energy of the sport and the enthusiasm and the just the holistic goodness of the sport was at an all-time high there. And it got more complicated after that. Once FLW came along, that threw a wrench in the system. It complicated it more. And then Bassmaster felt they had to do something different, and they were trying stuff, throwing stuff against the wall to see if it would stick, which it never did. And like I said, after about 1995, Bassmaster went down the tubes in terms of what it used to be. Now, you can return that. You can return Bassmaster to its time of greatness. And this isn't something about somebody reflecting on some nostalgia or that type of deal. That's not what this is about. It is about the energy of the sport and the enthusiasm and the passion and the fan interest and the fan attitudes about it. Now everybody's pissed off at Bassmaster, guys. Every single person that I talk to that used to be a fan of Bassmaster or casually watches it is all pissed off about him. Why are they pissed off at Bassmaster? It never used to happen before, and that's because of all the bonehead decisions and moves that they've made by people that don't fish and don't understand the industry and are motivated by money. It's like when you have freaking electronic companies, squeezing your balls to say you will do the right thing. You can't do the right thing. You're not operating from a perspective or a point of reference that is good for the sport. It's all about greed. It's all about money. It's all about profit. But in my model here, there's not going to be any profits for anybody. It's going to be basically a non-profit organization that is geared to ensuring the sustainability of our sport, protecting our conservation efforts, protecting our environment. That's what Bassmaster should be. Bassmaster, and the reason I'm so hard on them, guys, you guys, I've been very critical of Bassmaster over the past year. That's because Bassmaster should set the standard. The Bassmaster should be the adult in the room that everybody looks up to and everybody follows and everybody respects. But now Bassmaster does not have any respect, and that is because of the decision-making process that they've done on things like forward-facing sonar, rules, just the overall direction the sport's gone, putting people in positions of power within the organizations that don't understand the industry, and that's the problem that you have. But nevertheless, you've got the Bassmaster Classic, and as long as Bassmaster has a Bassmaster Classic, you have the potential of returning that organization to the greatness that it did have, back in the, from early 80s to early mid 90s, which was the height of it. That is when Ray Scott was, completely involved within the organization, and his vision was being fulfilled there. And he had he did it right, man, and everybody loved it. Back when Ray Scott was running it during that time period, guys, you didn't hear people talking like they do now. That never happened at all. People loved it. They loved what Bassmaster stood for. They couldn't wait Saturday morning when Bob Cobb got on the Bassmasters and seeing Larry Nixon, that 6-pounder jumping down at the Harris chain. That's what people love. Also, guys, on the YouTube channel, I will have the old Bassmaster music starting that like they did back in the 90s. So anyway, guys, just a fun little video. Let me know what you guys think. We'll talk later.